Week 12 of the all-time rosters franchise brings us to the longtime home of the San Diego franchise, where the Broncos visit the Chargers. The playoff chase is in full swing out of the AFC West as the 5-5 all-time Broncos visit the 5-5 all-time Chargers. 1969 first-team All-Pro Floyd Little, their star return man, to the 24. Hall of Famer John Elway, ninth in passing with 2,083 yards this year, 14 touchdowns and 7 picks on 59% completions. A solid year for the Hall of Famer out of Stanford. 1987 NFL MVP and Super Bowl 33 MVP. He finds Smith on the first play of the game. Sayal with the stop. The Broncos offense, Lionel Taylor, John Keyworth, Terrell Davis, and Shannon Sharp join the former undrafted free agent out of Division II Missouri Southern and the NFL's all-time undrafted free agent leader in every major receiving category when he retired in 2007, Rod Smith, part of the dynastic 90s for Denver. Toss to Davis, who was another star member of that dynasty, and he is buried by Merriman for a loss. Lights out Sean Merriman joins Derwin James, Eric Weddle, Gil Byrd, and the third all-time leading tackler, six-time All-Pro and the 1994 Walter Payton Man of the Year Award winner in Junior Seau. 3rd down and 5. Broncos top 10 in football at 42% on 3rd down this year. Straight drop from Elway on a 4-man rush. He guns it to Smith over the middle. 1st down Denver. Eric Weddle, a Hall of Fame all-decade teamer out of Utah, one of the starting safeties for this franchise, joining Rodney Harrison, was there to make the stop as the Broncos convert. Rod Smith again, and he gains a couple on the ground. Rod Smith quietly with the most receiving yards in franchise history and as good as any wideout in the history of the Broncos. Rod Smith, a 3-time Pro Bowler. Lionel Taylor over the middle, and he was a star out of the 1960s and the other starting receiver for this franchise. A gain of 8 through the air to Lionel Taylor. 3rd down and a yard to go. Blitz. Elway throws an outcut to Emmanuel Sanders for the 1st down. Couple of conversions on 3rd down from Denver to begin the game. And these receivers are on full display early. Rod Smith, Emmanuel Sanders, Lionel Taylor joining Ed McCaffrey. Brandon Marshall hauled in the touchdown to tie the game against the Chargers in Week 5. A very talented receiving core for Denver. After the 1st down run from Davis, the Broncos are already at the Charger 30-yard line. Snap to Elway. He fires over the middle to Demaryius Thomas. Touchdown, Denver Broncos. So many brilliant receivers for the Broncos franchise. Here's one of them. It's his 4th touchdown catch of the year. Demaryius Thomas from 30 yards out. Thomas trails only Rod Smith for the most receiving yards and receiving touchdowns in franchise history. A 30-yard score to begin the game, and the Broncos on the road in San Diego have the early 7-0 lead. Cromartie will down the ball for a touchback, and the captain of Air Coryell takes the field for San Diego, LA. 4th in passing with 2,335 yards this year, 15 touchdowns and 6 picks on 64% completions. An outstanding year for Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. Taken in the 3rd round in 1973 and helped guide the Chargers to their most dominant stretch of offensive football in the early 80s. Tomlinson is taken down for a loss. This Chargers offense, Keenan Allen, LaDainian Tomlinson, Keith Lincoln, and Lance Allworth joined the undrafted free agent who broke all of Rod Smith's records in receiving in Antonio Gates. He is in for the injured Kellen Winslow, broke his collarbone. It will be out until the regular season finale at Oakland, Las Vegas. Fouts on 2nd down, deep over the middle to the aforementioned Gates, A gain of 16 and a Charger first down. 1st and 10, San Diego. They'll go to the ground, inside on the draw to Tomlinson. With a gain of 5, Lyle Alzado makes the stop. The Chargers franchise with 9 Hall of Fame players, the Broncos with 8 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The quarterbacks starting today are 2 of them, Elway against Fouts. Deep ball from Dan Fouts, and Keenan Allen's got it. Aqib Talib got burnt badly down the field. It's a gain of 45 on a go pattern from the 6-time Pro Bowler out of Cal, Keenan Allen, one of the best receivers in franchise history. Allen's 108 catches in 2023, his final year before getting traded to Chicago, was the most in franchise history. Tomlinson buried at the line of scrimmage. That Bronco defense, Champ Bailey, one to watch, joining Von Miller, Steve Atwater, Randy Gradishar, and Carl Mecklenburg. Arguably the best player, LaDainian Tomlinson, on the Chargers franchise. 2006 NFL MVP, was an absolute monster in the red zone, scoring a NFL record 31 total touchdowns in his MVP campaign. Paul Lowe is back up on the call, is buried at the 6, 1st and goal. LT joining 2-time Pro Bowler Paul Lowe as the 1-2 punch at running back for the Chargers. Keith Lincoln, Austin Eckler, and Chuck Muncie round out the running back room for this franchise. Fouts with time, hit and taken down for a Broncos sack. Trevor Price will close the quarter from San Diego. Demarius Thomas with a 30-yard touchdown has given the Broncos the lead at the end of one, 7-0. Welcome back. Nick Rice in hand from sunny San Diego, California. The Chargers are one of the worst red zone offenses in football, but Lance Allworth nearly scores here on a slant, 3rd and goal. Dennis Smith, the all-time tackles leader in Broncos history, with a touchdown-saving tackle to set up 3rd and goal. LT with 3 touchdown runs this year. Make it 4. Touchdown, San Diego. A nose for the end zone. Hall of Famer out of TCU. Back in there for the Chargers. Extra point from Cameron Dicker is right down Broadway. Slow start to the day for the Charger bell cow. 4 carries for 3 yards, but a Charger touchdown. 7:25 left in the first half. First drive of the day goes the distance for the Broncos and the Chargers. And Rod Smith, who had a busy opening drive for the Broncos, was hammered by Mack at the 21. First and 10. John Elway looking right on a screen and nearly had that one taken away by Cromartie. Led by John Elway, the Broncos were the #1 total offense in the NFL in 1996 and a Super Bowl season of 1997, where they beat Atlanta in blowout fashion, 34-19. That is part of a complete disparity of playoff success between these two franchises. The Broncos are 10th in the NFL as a win percentage in the playoffs. The Chargers have the worst win percentage as a franchise in the National Football League, tied with Detroit. 3rd down, and Taylor is inches away from the marker. The Broncos go 3 and out. Second grab of the day and the 46th of the year for Lionel Taylor, one of the wide receivers of the AFC midseason Pro Bowl roster. Really a fabulous start to the year for the 3-time Pro Bowler out of small school New Mexico Highlands. Deep kick to the 24 to Keith Lincoln. Spilled by Goose Gonsolin at the 33. 6:04 to play in the first half out of San Diego. Chargers went the distance on their last drive. And we'll begin this one with Dan Fouts going deep over the middle. Allworth dropped it. Speaking of that playoff success, Denver, in the middle of a record-breaking year out of Peyton Manning, defeated the Chargers in their lone playoff matchup as Fouts is incomplete.
The pass results in an incompletion. Number 13, the intended receiver on the play.
Denver knocked out San Diego in the 2013 AFC Divisional Round, 24-17. As Fouts on a third down, unloads to Keenan Allen, who makes another sideline catch. It is ruled inbounds. 3rd and 10, no problem to Keenan Allen, a gain of 22. 67 yards receiving already today and just under 500 on the year. Second to Lance Allworth for the Chargers at wide receiver. Fouts fires to the aforementioned Hall of Famer, nicknamed Bambi. A gain of 17 to Lance Allworth. First down, San Diego. Lance Allworth retired with the most receiving yards per game in NFL history. A fabulous wideout out of the 1960s. It helped guide the Chargers to their lone championship, an AFL title in 1963. Another beautiful pass from Fouts, complete to the Hall of Famer, Charlie Joyner, gain of 19. Charlie Joyner retired in the top 15 in receiving yards in NFL history. Another incredible pass catcher for this franchise. Really, the embarrassment of riches for Dan Fouts to throw the football is second to just about no franchise in the NFL. Lance Allworth, Charlie Joyner, tight end Kellen Winslow, and Antonio Gates, both in the Hall of Fame. Keenan Allen, Gary Garrison, Wes Chandler, John Jefferson, and Vincent Jackson. Dave Kosorek, the third-string tight end. Lance Allworth is shaken up off of the catch to the 5-yard line. Let's check out this play again, covered by Patrick Surtain, two-time All-Pro out of Alabama. It was Von Miller who twisted him down at the 5. 3rd and goal, San Diego. Fouts, with a pass rush coming, completes the pass to Lincoln. 8 for 10 with 136 yards today out of Dan Fouts. But the Chargers stall in the red zone and will settle for the field goal. Just a bit longer than a PAT out of Cameron Dicker, and the kick is good to pull the Chargers back in front.
The field goal attempt is good.
Cameron Dicker, 11 for 11 to begin the season. A fabulous year for the man that was discounted coming out of Texas and was signed by the Chargers to replace longtime kicker Nick Novak. Nate Kading also had a strong run for the Charger franchise, but there's no greater kicker in the Chargers' rich history than Cameron Dicker. That pass is incomplete. 2nd down coming up.
Number 87, the intended receiver. 2nd down.
Broncos franchise led by head coach Mike Shanahan. The Chargers guided by Sid Gilman, who was sidelining the Chargers franchise for a dozen years. Off tackle to Davis, who gains 2. 2nd tackle of the day from Sean Merriman.
Gain of 2.
The Broncos with a brilliant effort on 3rd down today, where they are 2 for 3. Demaryius Thomas over the middle for 10. First down, Denver.
Number 7 with the completion.
And the Broncos go into the 2-minute warning, down a field goal. First down and 10 yards to go. 4-man Charger rush. Elway's going to go for it all. Deep down the field. Incomplete to Taylor. Swatted away by Dick Harris.
The intended target on the play. 2nd down.
1:54 to go in the half. Chargers lead at 10-7. Elway scans the field, unloads into traffic, and Smith somehow makes the catch. Just a brilliant throw from Elway over 2 Charger defenders. Elway stands in the pocket on 1st down, going deep again, and that time he is intercepted. Dick Harris, the AFL champion out of McNeese State, 3rd in the league in that championship season in interceptions. He takes it away from John Elway, his 2nd pick of the year. Charger football at their own 20, leading by a field goal. Keenan Allen with a gain of 6. Timeout, Sid Gilman.
Gain of 6 on the play.
Injury update, Lance Allworth has sustained a dislocated hip and is out for the remainder of the game. In fact, he may be in danger of missing the rest of the year with that type of injury. Join the injury report for the all-time rosters franchise on Monday. 3rd and 12. And it's another Bud McFadden sack, and the Chargers go 3 and out. Bud McFadden, 3-time first-team All-Pro out of Texas. Darren Bennett hammers the kick all the way to Thompson at the 36. A punt of 54 and a return of 4. Denver with good field position to begin their next drive. Broncos in a punt and turnover fest have been held scoreless since their opening drive. Taylor wrapped up at the 44-yard line, and the Broncos run the no huddle with a minute to go in the first half. Nick Grice in hand from sunny San Diego. 5-5 teams meet in the AFC West as Elway airs it out and finds Taylor on a jump ball. He is shaken up at the 8-yard line and will leave the game. Demaryius Thomas in there to join Emmanuel Sanders and Brandon Marshall on 1st and goal from the 8. Elway unloads to the tight end for the gain of 4. 2-time Super Bowl champion with Denver, Shannon Sharp. Broncos out of timeouts are taking their time here. 33 seconds to go in the first half. Straight drop. Elway throws to Riley Odoms, the number 2 tight end for Denver. Touchdown. 5th overall pick out of Houston in 1972. Racked up 41 career touchdown catches. Riley Odoms hauls in his 2nd touchdown of the year for Denver. A 4-yard score to put the Broncos back in the lead. 28 seconds remaining in the half. A good back-and-forth battle out of the AFC West, reminiscent of the game played between these two in Denver back in Week 5. Gates returns to the 40, setting up good field position for Fouts and company. 1st down and 10 yards to go. 4-man rush. Dan Fouts climbs the pocket and is going to the end zone. Tipped away by the defense. Another deflection out of 4-time Pro Bowler Aqib Talib. Super Bowl 50 champion for the Broncos, their 3rd title when they knocked out Carolina in the 2015 campaign. Fouts fires. Keenan Allen makes the catch. Timeout, San Diego. Hall of Famer Randy Gradishar, part of the Orange Crush defense, and the 1978 Defensive Player of the Year with the inside stop for Denver. His 40th of the season. Fouts may be down to this play. He throws an out cut to an open Joyner, shoved out by Surtain. 1st down, Chargers. Cameron Dicker, who has the most 50-yard makes in franchise history, hits another one for the Chargers, good from 53. 2 seconds to go in the half. 14-13 Broncos. And Floyd Little downs it to close the half. 2 quarters complete and a score fest out of San Diego. The all-time Broncos 14, the all-time Chargers 13. 2nd half coming up next. All-time Broncos, all-time Chargers. Dan Fouts, while an incredible list of receivers he has to throw to, is down Kellen Winslow and Lance Allworth for the remainder of today's game. Allworth sustained the dislocated hip in the first half. So some of these other guys are going to have to step up here for a Chargers club that is 2 games back of the division-leading Chiefs in the AFC West and 1 game back of the Raiders and Colts for the final wild card spot, them in Denver. Antonio Gates, that's the guy that may need to step up, and he has a big play to begin the half. Dan Fouts, 186 yards on 12 of 15 completions, a passer rating of 117. Another virtuoso effort from Dan Fouts to begin this one today. Another completion here over the middle to Jefferson for the gain of 7.
Gain of 8 on the play.
Led by Dan Fouts, the Chargers ranked number 1 in total offense 4 years in a row, 1980 to 1983, and again in 1985. Tomlinson straight ahead where Atwater stops him a yard away from the marker. Hall of Famer Steve Atwater, a 2-time All-Pro and a 2-time Super Bowl champion, joining Champ Bailey and Randy Gradishar as the Hall of Fame defenders for the Broncos. Fouts guns it to his fullback, Heath Lincoln, and there he goes. Lincoln to the 29. One of the best fullbacks in NFL history is AFL champ Heath Lincoln, a 4-time Pro Bowler out of Washington State. His 6.5 yards per carry in his outstanding career is the most in franchise history, and that includes LaDainian Tomlinson. Von Miller with the stop. Dan Fouts has completed 4 passes in a row for the Chargers and has been red hot this year. 1982 Offensive Player of the Year. They didn't do much in the playoffs, but he was in the regular season as unbeatable as any in NFL history.
Number 21 on the run. Gain of 2 on the play.
Considering his last snap with the Chargers was in 1987, it's amazing he's still in the top 20 in passing yards in NFL history. Fouts on a 3rd down, fires over the middle. That's his 5th completion in a row, hammered by Smith at the 15. Beautiful pass to the Hall of Famer out of Grambling State in Charlie Joyner, who played with the Oilers, the Bengals, and the Chargers over a brilliant 19-year career. Fouts to Gates, drilled at the 5, and a look at the red zone numbers for the Chargers. 2 for 2 today, but the Chargers this season, a putrid 78% mark in red zone efficiency. They have had 5 different red zone drives end with a turnover this year. 1st and goal at the 3, Jeffrey Simmons with the stop. A 5-minute long possession from Fouts and company. 1st and goal at the Denver 3. Handoff to Tomlinson, touchdown San Diego. Two touchdowns today and 5 on the season. And now for the Chargers, who converted their lone 2-pointer against Denver in Week 5 to extend the game. They'll go for 2, and it was LT who punched it in. Tomlinson is in the block this time for Fouts, who finds John Jefferson, the league leader in receiving in 1980 with the catch in the end zone. You can hear it from this sellout crowd out of San Diego as the Chargers jump into the lead 21-14. Smith drilled at the 24-yard line by Edwards. John Elway, 12 of 16 for 162 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick to Dick Harris. A passer rating of 120.3. Solid numbers from the Hall of Famer today. Draw to Terrell Davis. He is buried at the line of scrimmage.
Number 30, the ball carrier. No gain on the
Davis with 5 carries for 10 yards. Part of a brilliant game plan from Sid Gilman to shut down the Hall of Famer out of Georgia. Davis on the call, and he is stuffed again, this time by Harris.
number 36 makes the tackle. No gain.
Terrell Davis with the 3rd most rushing yards per game in NFL history, a career 97.5 in what was an injury-shortened career. Smith on the in cut, hammered by Cromartie, 3 and out, Denver. Greatest punter in Broncos history, 2-time Super Bowl champion Tom Ruin, averaging 45 yards a punt this season. Sends it to Lincoln at the 20, a punt of 49, and a return of 18. Number 57, Tom Jackson, 4th round pick out of Louisville back in 1973. on the special team stop for Denver. Chargers just went the distance on their last drive. Fouts guns it to Joyner. He's got it for a gain of a dozen. Dan Fouts can't miss. 7 completions in a row for the Hall of Famer out of Oregon. Draw to Tomlinson. And yet again, stuffed to the backfield, Elvis Dumervil, the league leader in sacks in 2009. On the tackle for the Broncos is 9th for loss this year. Final play of the third quarter here for the Chargers, up a touchdown. And they're going to go to the ground with Paul Lowe, who's stuffed in the backfield again. Alzado with the stop. Fourth quarter coming up next as the Chargers lead the Broncos by 7. The Chargers franchise is one of 12 teams without a Super Bowl title. They are also in the bottom 10 of the league with just 12 playoff wins. As Tomlinson on a third down doesn't do much, and the Chargers will punt. Dan Fouts was responsible for only 3 playoff wins over 4 trips. Some humiliating playoff defeats. The Freezer Bowl of '81 is a notable one against the Bengals. Also crushed in the AFC title of 1980 against the Raiders. Really a humiliating playoff resume for this Chargers franchise. The Broncos, meanwhile, are tied for 8th in the National Football League with 3 Super Bowl titles, and only the Patriots have more Super Bowl trips than the 8 for Denver. The Chargers made it only once when they were blown out by the 49ers in the Super Bowl of 1994.
1-yard gain on the play.
Denver down a touchdown early in the fourth quarter. Elway lobs it on a screen pass, and Eric Weddle brings down Davis. 14 of 18 for 170 yards today out of John Elway, who retired as the NFL's second all-time leading passer with over 51,000 career yards, going out on top as a Super Bowl champion 2 times over. Gary Johnson with the sack. Nicknamed Big Hands, was the league leader in sacks in 1980 and a first-team All-Pro. Johnson with his 5th sack of the year. Ruin belts it away to Lincoln of the 45. And he's spilled at midfield. First and 10. Nick Rice-Hand out of the AFC West. Winner remains at worst a game and a half back of the final wild card spot. Fouts over the middle to Gates, and he is gone. Touchdown, San Diego. Antonio Gates has the most touchdown catches by a tight end in NFL history. Hard to believe he wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, but his name is inducted in Canton and enshrined forever. Extra point is good. 5:28 to go in the game. Antonio Gates today, 4 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown. Him and Kellen Winslow create an unguardable 1-2 tandem at tight end, and both will be featured when the Chargers visit the Raiders to close the regular season. They certainly hope that they are still alive for the playoffs at that spot. Today's game has featured a Hall of Fame running back battle of Terrell Davis, LaDainian Tomlinson, but neither one of them has had anything to remember in today's game. Really a regrettable performance. Pass to Odoms is incomplete. To the contrary of Dan Fouts, John Elway was 14-7 in his playoff career as a first overall pick out of Stanford in 1983. Outcut to Shannon Sharp. You know, they had talked about John Elway being a playoff collapser. And what they did against the Jags in 97 certainly was embarrassing. But the Bronco quarterback certainly gets more heat than what should be given to Dan Fouts, who really had a humiliating playoff resume. Another strange throw on third down, well short of the marker and out of bounds anyways to Thomas. Fourth down, and the Broncos are in fact going to go for it. Down by 14 late in the game from their own 23. Broncos are 1 for 2 on 4th down this year. Elway fires it deep down the field, incomplete to Thomas. And the Chargers are in prime position to come away with a win today. All they really need is points on this possession, and they're at the Denver 23. Fouts on the deep drop, guns it to his fullback, and Lincoln may have been out of bounds. And that'll stop the clock, incomplete. 4:36 remaining in the game. Nick Rice-Hand out of San Diego. Fouts looking and throwing down the field for John Jefferson, and he's out of bounds in front of Steve Atwater at the 6. Second grab of the day and the 11th of the year. Chargers on the doorstep of a knockout punch. They may feel compelled to just run the ball here on this drive as time is of the essence for Denver. Fouts lost it, stripped by Price and recovered by Gradishar. That is the absolute worst result of that drive. Randy Gradishar with a heads-up play. The Chargers are in the top 4 in the league in giveaways. They do a great job securing the ball, and it is just their 10th turnover of the year. And Fouts, with the fumble, gives Davis and company the ball, but Earl Faison wraps him up.
1 yard loss on the play.
Well, the Broncos have just got nothing going on the ground today. Terrell Davis is the deep back for the Broncos here on 2nd down. They'll give it to him, and there's Davis with a seam. No one in front of him, and Terrell Davis has the longest run of the year. 95 yards for a touchdown.
Touchdown, Denver.
Hall of Famer Terrell Davis had been completely shut down today, and with the game on the line off the turnover to Gradishar, Davis goes 95. He is 7th in the league in rushing yards this season and top 10 in rushing average. Only a matter of time before he'd make a play like that. 8 carries for 104 yards and a touchdown. He has over 850 rushing yards on the year. On pace to eclipse 1,400 by season's end. Low down the sideline is hammered by Jackson at the 24. On October 15th, 2012, Peyton Manning and the Broncos erased a 24-0 deficit on Monday night at the Chargers to deliver one of the greatest comeback wins in NFL history. The Broncos are hoping to come back in this game down 14 with under 5 minutes to go. Austin Eckler, 2-time league leader in total touchdowns during the 2010s, down to the 32, spinning his way for 9. Chargers will try and bleed the clock, something they really didn't attempt to do on their last drive, up 14 in field goal range. With 2 on the play clock, they'll go ground, and Tomlinson with a flag down has the first.
Holding offense.
Walt Sweeney, 9-time Pro Bowler and one of the 3 first-team All-Pros on the Chargers starting line, commits a brutal penalty with 2:50 to go. He joins Ron Mix, Russ Washington, Chris Dielman, and Doug Wilkerson as the starters up front for the Chargers line.
Loss of 1.
Timeout called by Mike Shanahan with 2:44 left in the 4th. Tomlinson upended at the 22. Timeout Denver.
Number 21.
Darren Bennett, league leader in punt average in 2000 and inducted into the Hall of Fame All-Decade Team of the 1990s, sends away a good one. 3rd leading punt average player in the league this season. Out of bounds to Thompson at the 33. A great punt from Bennett of a 45. 2:32 left in the ball game. Denver is in position here with a 67-yard drive to tying the ball game. They'll come out with the arm of John Elway, and he missed an open Lionel Taylor, incomplete.
Number 87.
Rarely are those two not on the same page. Lionel Taylor set the NFL record in catches in 1961, one of his 5 seasons where he led the league in the 60s in receptions. He was part of the original franchise offense. Lionel Taylor, part of the debut season of the Broncos, as them and the Chargers were two of the 8 AFL franchises established in 1960. Sanders dropped it on a third down, and now the Broncos, who missed their last fourth down, this may be it for them. They need the 43 to convert 4th and 10. John Elway throws over the middle, and Emmanuel Sanders hauls it in.
Number 10.
315 yards for Dan Fouts, but John Elway, with 189 yards and 2 touchdowns, has kept the Broncos in the game. The Chargers offense watches patiently, hoping the defense can make one final stand. The Chargers are a putrid 25th in defense this year. Deep crossing pattern to Taylor for the gain of 9. And the Broncos will run the no huddle here. Brandon Marshall, Emmanuel Sanders, Lionel Taylor, and Rod Smith in at receiver for the Broncos. That pass to Taylor is incomplete. They need less than a yard here on third down with 1:44 to go. Crowd on its feet to root on the defense. Blitz. Elway will tuck it for the first time, and he has an open alley to the Charger 28. Eric Weddle, Hall of Fame All-Decade teamer out of Utah in the 2010s, with the shoestring stop. Outcut to Rod Smith, who's been quiet in the second half. Gain of another 16. First down at the Charger 12. Five-man rush. Elway hit as he throws, and that pass is incomplete. The Hall of Famer of Louisiana Tech supplied the pressure that time in Fred Dean. Second down and 10 yards to go. 12 yards away from tying the game. Elway throws to the left corner, and it's nearly picked off by Dick Harris. 12 yards to the end zone, 10 yards to the first down marker, spotted at the 1.5. Davis in the block for Elway, off the corner blitz to the end zone, out of bounds. The officials will confirm it, and the pass to Sanders is indeed incomplete. The Broncos have split their fourth down attempts today and are 2 for 4 this year. They need the 2 to keep the game alive. John Elway on 4th and 10 to the end zone to Smith. Touchdown, Denver Broncos. Greatest statistical receiver in Broncos history, Rod Smith. With his 4th touchdown catch of the year, the Chargers ran the soft zone, and Cromartie was late getting over the middle, and Smith beats him for the score. We are tied at 28 as John Elway throws for 227 yards and 3 touchdowns. Getting a congratulations from another legendary Bronco quarterback, the NFL record holder for passing touchdowns and passing yards in a season, Peyton Manning. Third string quarterback is Jake the Snake Plummer. Cameron Dicker came into the day 10 for 10 on field goals with a long of 54. He drilled his 4th 50-plus yarder in the first half and is 12 for 12 this year. A couple big plays, and Dicker could be in range for a field goal. Tied at 28, Dan Fouts, who had struggled in the clutch in so many games in the playoffs, throws out of bounds to Allen. Part of a fourth quarter collapse here to the division rival Broncos. Chargers will visit the Jaguars on Monday night next week. Meanwhile, the Broncos are on the road as well to tangle the struggling Vikings. All-out blitz, and they get there. Elvis Dumerville with the sack. First of the day, third of the season. The Broncos lead only the Raiders and the Patriots for third worst in sacks in the league. There will be no timeout called. We head to overtime, tied at 28. And away we go. Darren Bennett sends away the kickoff to begin overtime. Same exact score through regulation in week 5 when these teams played. The Broncos winning the toss will begin overtime at their own 20. Hall of Famer John Elway with a vintage fourth quarter comeback performance, and now his Broncos have a chance to win it on this drive. Check down to Sanders for the gain of about a yard, and he is ruled inbounds. A look at the numbers today from Elway: 20 of 34 for 228 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. 17 touchdown passes from Elway this year. Straight ahead run, and Davis is spilled by Seau. 6th tackle of the day and his 60th of the year. Junior Seau, 3rd on the all-time tackle list, trailing only the Ravens' Ray Lewis and the Redskins' Commanders' London Fletcher. Elway shoots it deep. There's Lionel Taylor, who makes the catch and is down to the 30.
That play is good for a Broncos first down.
Lionel Taylor beats the defense on a big pass from John Elway. Gil Bird was in coverage but lost the track of it, and Taylor skies for the reception. There's Gil Bird, who's just a little bit late and falling behind. And after the big completion, the Broncos on the brink of field goal range. Davis to the 26.
Number 30 hits the call on the run. Gain of 4.
Jason Elam tied the NFL record with a 63-yard made field goal against the Jaguars in 1998, a Super Bowl season. Well within his range. Here's Elam warming up after the Davis run for nothing. Davis with an outstanding run of 95. He is out of the game. This is 2-time Pro Bowler Otis Armstrong, league leader in rushing in 1974. He'll get the call. Big run to the 10 and is one defender away from a touchdown. Terrell Davis, Floyd Little, Sammy Winder, John Keyworth, the running backs in this offense, and the 2-time Pro Bowler out of Purdue, Otis Armstrong. Jason Elam, 16 of 17 this year. This his easiest attempt of the year. Kick from 25, and the Broncos come back, scoring 17 unanswered and defeat the Chargers in San Diego. It's the Broncos in overtime who dispatch the Chargers 31-28. Denver improves to 6-5. San Diego, LA falls to 5-6. It is their 5th loss in a row. Elway with 274 yards and 3 touchdowns in an exhilarating victory in overtime. This is Charger Dude 95 for the all-time rosters franchise. A thriller today, won by the Broncos in overtime.